What's up, guys? Today we're going over the new raid trace rifle, Acasia's Dejection, and in this video we'll be going over all its different roles, which ones are worth getting, looking at this weapon's DPS and comparing it to a few other weapons, and overall just trying to see how good it is. But before we get into all that good stuff, a quick word from today's video sponsor. Okay, imagine this. What if Raid Shadow Legends sponsored this video? You get to hear all about its awesome collection of over 700 unique champions, a super detailed and tactical RPG battle system, incredible graphics, and intense combination of PvE and PvP content. Well, lucky for you, this video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. And this month, Raid Shadow Legends is turning 4 years old, so the best way to tell you more about the game is to show you a scrapbook I made to commemorate my favorite moments over the past 4 years with my starting champion. I remember when I first summoned Kale and I was outside a dungeon completely lost and clueless of what to do in the game, but as time went along, I got better at the game, finally beat my first dungeon, unlocked my first artifact, and received a bunch of awesome gifts along the way from different events, and eventually even decided to step into PvP in the arena and somehow managed to come out on top. Along the way, my champion kept getting stronger and stronger, and I loved every single moment of it. Raid Shadow Legends has had a crazy journey throughout the past 4 years, but even more excited for what's to come. And with Raid's 4th anniversary finally being here, there's a ton to get excited about. I'm talking dedicated offers, free gifts, promo codes, events, and a brand new fusion event where you guys can get your hands on an anniversary themed legendary champion. You'll also be able to take the same trip down memory lane with a recap video of your stats in Raid. I'm looking forward to seeing how many champions I pulled since last year. Oh, and if you're an Amazon Prime member who just got Jinbo, keep an eye out for the next drop with some powerful Savage gear. It's available from March 2nd until the 30th. With all this exciting stuff and more coming to Raid, if you haven't started playing yet, then what are you waiting for? Use my link in the description or scan my QR code on screen to get insane bonuses. We are talking an epic champion, Kellen the Shriek, and other useful things, energy refills, magic potions, and XP brews. And since it's Raid's birthday, the gifts keep coming. All new and existing players can get a bunch of free birthday gifts. Once you're in the game, after clicking on the links, just enter promo code 4YearsRaid to get your hands on 4 legendary skill tomes, plus other useful stuff. So just hit my link in the description and I'll see you on the battlefield. Once again, thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. So jumping into this trace rifle, it's going to be a solar one, and looking at the perks on the left, there's going to be 4 I want to talk about in this video: Envious, Reconstruction, Rewind Rounds, and Field Prep. So first with Rewind Rounds, when this weapon's magazine is empty, it refills from reserves based on the number of hits. So looking at how that works, on light.gg, it says for a special it's going to be between 30 and 40%, I believe, but I found that it actually works as a primary, doing roughly between 50 and 60%, and it's not going to be a set number. From my base mag of 104, I got 61 back, which is right around 60%, and from that 60, I then got 29, and from that 29, I got 0. So overall, even if you hit all of your shots, it's not going to get to double the max size, and it's from reserve, so something like Reconstruction is going to be generally just better at all times. With my base mag of 98, Reconstruction will double it to 196, and it's going to get 10 back in the mag every few seconds. So if you're just loading up a boss fight and you wanted, a double mag, Reconstruction is going to be super consistent and always be there for you, compared to Rewind Rounds, where even if you hit all of your shots, it's not even going to get to double the mag. So Reconstruction is definitely the most consistent mag increase, but this weapon also has Envious Assassin, which is going to be able to overflow up to 2.5x the base mag, even higher. So with my base mag of 104, getting a bunch of kills before pulling out the weapon will allow it to get up to 260, which is going to be higher than Reconstruction, but requires more work and setup. So if you're just dropping it into a boss fight and you really don't have time to set up a perk, Reconstruction will be better and the easiest all around, while Envious Assassin will allow you to get a higher magazine, but more setup. So for general play, I think you can make the case that Envious is better, while for just ease of use, Reconstruction is probably the best overall. And the final perk I want to mention left will be Field Prep for the increased reserves, but with this perk, even without reserve perks, it was only like plus 40 more ammo. Then with reserve perks, it actually was only like plus 5 or plus 8 or something like that. So overall, definitely not worth using over Reconstruction or Envious Assassin. And the reason those two perks are so good on this weapon in the left is for damage. If we look at the right column perks, there's going to be a lot of good things to talk about, but for DPS, there's going to be two that stand out that don't require any setup, and that's going to be High Impact Reserves and Target Lock. And Target Lock, frankly put, is just a better version of High Impact Reserves that starts working right away compared to High Impact Reserves not proccing until you're below 50%. So looking at the way this works, I'm going to do the damage on a Major, Carl, and on a boss. It is different. It does do less damage to bosses by a little bit. I think it was like 13%. So not that big of a difference. And the way Target Lock works is the number steadily increases. Then at X points, it goes to ×1, ×2, all the way up to ×5. And those points aren't when the damage increases. The damage will steadily increase the entire time, like in a linear fashion. So I'm going to use a base mag of 260, the max you can get with Envious Assassin. And I have a boss spec, not backup mag. And I'm going to do a few different numbers. One, the entire mag, the full 260, ramping up damage. Then once you're at ×5, what the DPS will be. And I used a lot of math to figure this out instead of counting up every single number. And the total damage for one mag on a boss would be 650k, on a major a little bit higher at 736k, which means the DPS of one mag versus a boss will be 37.5 and versus a major 42.5. So those numbers are not very good for a special weapon at all. They're pretty low. So let's say you enhance Target Lock, which will be 5% more damage, and only look at the DPS once you're at ×5. It's still not that high at 40.7 thousand. So these weapons aren't very high in terms of DPS, and just to show off how bad they are, comparing it to a multi-kill clip 900 RPM SMG, this one isn't even kinetic. Kinetics would do 10% more. Looking at damage on Carl with and without multi-kill clip ×3. With ×3, we hit 2553. And looking at the rate of fire of one mag, it's gonna be pretty quick. 38 bullets took 2.4 seconds, which means the DPS is 39,325 on a major, which is only 8% worse than that of the Trace with Target Lock. So Trace rifles definitely aren't DPS monsters by any means. Really, they're kind of a special that works like a primary. So looking at that and that angle of this weapon, there's gonna be a lot of perks on the right that will help it for ad clear and things like that. You're gonna have a bunch of damage perks that you can use. Frenzy 15% plus reload. You can use Harmony for 20% increase once you get a final blow with different weapon. Or more importantly, I think the two best ones will be Paracausal Affinity, which will be a 20% buff that will be very easy to get if you're playing like a sword build. When you get a sword ability final blow or a final blow with any sword weapon, you'll get that 20% buff, so that'll be there almost all the time. Or you can use Incandescent, making veins explode, and spreading Scorch, which works really well once again on sword builds. So using a Trace rifle more like your primary is a better way to use the weapon. And it is kind of a meta pick due to the fact that if you have double special plus your power weapon, there is still this like hidden feature in the game dating back to a long time ago, where with double specials, for whatever reason, you get more heavy drops. And that used to be because you don't have a primary on anymore, and you would no longer drop primary ammo bricks. And now those don't even exist, yet this still happens. And this season, a lot of people do that by using the Hollow Denial, which is Void, which comes with a lot of interesting rolls, including Wellspring or even Repulsor Brace, with Lead from Gold in the left. And that one is really good this season because of the artifact with the free volatile rounds. So really it's the volatile rounds carrying the Void Trace and not the actual Trace itself, along with Bricks from Beyond to get more heavy bricks on top of the double special vein. So that is a really meta loadout just for those features, and not necessarily because the Trace rifle is that good. And since I can't craft that one, I prefer using the Volt Shot Arc one from last season. And the main reason for this is Volt Shot itself really carries any weapon for ad clear and DPS. The perk does so much for both veins, where it doesn't really even matter what weapon you have it on. A Volt Shot, like sidearm, a Volt Shot, Trace rifle, whatever it is, will be kind of the same, right? Because a lot of your DPS is coming from the jolts along with your ad clear. So at that point, you may as well take advantage of double special for the increased heavy drops. But overall, the rolls I'd be going for on the raid Trace rifle would be probably Reconstruction plus Target Lock for boss damage. If they ever get buffed, that could be a pretty good roll. And then for general play, I would go for Envious Assassin plus Paracausal or plus Incandescent. But overall, I would not say this is like a weapon you need to get. Legendary Trace Rifles are in a pretty awkward spot in my opinion right now. They're only slightly better than the best primaries, and they're way worse for damage output compared to the best specials. So I think they need a decent damage buff to make them more in line with special weapons and less in line with primaries that use special ammo, because when it comes down to it, outside of the feature of getting more heavy bricks with double special, they're really not that much better than some of the best primaries in the game, yet use a much harder to find resource special ammo compared to infinite ammo with primaries. And really the only usable trace rifles in PvE or the Volshot one or a Void one with volatile rounds, and both of those are being carried by those two perks and not actually the trace rifle. Anyways, let me know what you think about this trace rifle down below. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.